How do you forgive someone that betrayed you?
How do you forgive someone that betrayed you? Don't. Just fire them from your life and move on. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Because forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. Right? Forgiveness is a choice. It's a decision that you make to let go of the energy and not keep carrying it with you anymore. It doesn't mean forgetting about what happened, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you like the other person. Because sometimes you learn things about people and you realize, I don't know why I decided to be friends with that person, or, this person isn't really the kind of friend I want to have. But that doesn't mean that you should hold on to the negative feelings. Let it go. Now, deciding to forgive, to let go of what happened, does not mean that it's okay what they did, that their betrayal is acceptable. It's not acceptable. It just means you don't want to hold on to it anymore. You don't want to hold on to the bad feelings, which is really wise of you to do. So you can forgive them by choosing to forgive them. It doesn't mean that you like them. It doesn't mean that what they did is okay. It just means you've decided to let it go. It's just a decision. The real question here is, how do I get rid of all the negative feelings that I feel about them? Because when I forgive them and say I forgive them, it doesn't make those negative feelings go away. Well, that's because forgiveness doesn't do that. Just deciding to forgive someone doesn't make the anger go away, or the hatred, or the hurt, or sadness, or whatever else you feel about being betrayed. Forgiveness only releases one part of it. And it is an important part of it, definitely. It works powerfully, mostly on the spiritual level, right? We are physical, we are emotional, we are mental, and we are spiritual. But most of our pain that we feel when someone betrays us is going to be more in the unconscious mind, in the mental level. And forgiveness doesn't really work in that arena. It doesn't work in the unconscious mind. It works on the conscious mind. You consciously forgive. I choose to forgive. That's a conscious decision. But the unconscious mind is just a bunch of file folders with files in them, and on the files are a bunch of codes known as words, a bunch of belief systems and statements and thoughts. Well, deciding to forgive someone doesn't erase a bunch of anger in the unconscious mind. They're not even in the same realm. That's like going to the bank and saying, I'd like to deposit a large suitcase of love. You can't deposit love at the bank. Nope. Just like you can't go up to another person and say, here, I'd like to give you $1 million to love me. They might love the $1 million, but it's not going to make them love you. Money and love are both really important, but they work in different arenas. That's what Harbecker said when I took one of his courses, and it's really true. And if you want to get over the terrible emotions that you have about someone else's betrayal, so that you can genuinely feel better and no longer feel negative feelings inside of yourself, like anger and so on, when you think about what happened, then you need to learn the 7 steps to reprogramming yourself and erase everything you can. Then you got to learn the 5-step emotional eraser and erase everything about them. Then you do the emotional repolarization technique, and then you do your completion process. And when you finish the completion process and you're no longer filled with negative emotions, negative thoughts, unconsciously or consciously, and negative energy about this other person, and you say, I forgave them, it'll be an afterthought, because forgiveness is part of completion and part of the 5-step emotional eraser. But that's not enough. You see, it's only part of those tools, and neither one of them have anything to do with the unconscious mind. So in order to truly get over it and no longer hold on to the negative emotions towards the other person for betraying you, you've got to do a lot of inner work. Now, you might be mad at the other person for forcing you to do all this inner work. Erase that anger too. Erase all of it. And be proud that you are powerful enough to take responsibility for how you feel, because no one can make you feel anything. Every single emotion you have comes from a thought in your brain. Every single thought creates biochemicals in the brain that we call emotion that go into the body. So no one can make you think or feel anything. If someone can show you, if they can mirror to you the stuff you need to work on, well, it might suck, but thank you for showing me. And now I'm going to clear it all. So when I think about what you did, I am not triggered at all. I have erased the buttons permanently. That's powerful. That is so powerful. It makes you like untouchable. Untouchable. No one can hurt you if there's no buttons to push. So if someone betrayed you and pushed your buttons really hard, erase those buttons, remove them all. So when you think about what happened and when you think about them, you don't feel anything. You're completely neutral, which means you've moved to a space of unconditional love. Then you'll make a really good decision about that person and how you want them to be in your life, if at all. Do you get it? It's hard to make a good decision when you're angry. And just by saying you forgive someone doesn't make the anger go away. That's probably why people ask that question. Because they did forgive. They said, I forgive them. But then the negative emotions are still there. You got to erase them. There's ways to do it. I just told you what they were. Once you erase them, wow, now you can see things clearly. Until you erase your negative emotions about any situation in life, you're not going to see the situation clearly. You're going to see it through the goggles of those negative emotions. And you're going to see this filtered version, this distorted version of reality. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen someone get angry over the littlest thing that didn't make sense. Like, why are they getting so mad over such a little thing? Because their button got pushed. And that anger was already there. And then you know that example of the person who's like upset about something that didn't really go that way. You're like, that's not what happened. Why do they think that's what happened? It's because they're seeing the situation through their pain. And the pain is distorting reality. And when you're upset, you're seeing life through that distortion. It's really hard to remember that, isn't it? When you're in the moment and you're upset, it just feels like life. But if you can remember in that moment when you're upset that you're not seeing things clearly because you're upset, and that upset is distorting you, boy, it sure can give you a chance to say, let me separate myself from the situation. Let me erase my negative emotions and remove the distortion. Let me remove the filter I'm seeing life through. And then reevaluate the situation. And you know what's amazing is when that happens, a lot of times what there is to do is so different than what you thought you were going to do. And a lot of times there's nothing to do. Sometimes the person even comes to you and apologizes. Sometimes. There's three things that happen when you clear everything that you feel about someone else. Number one, they change, which I just mentioned. They might come and apologize. Number two, they don't change at all, but you don't care because you're no longer affected by how they behave. Number three, they disappear. They disappear from your reality. Now, I cover that in much more detail in a guide to better relationships, and it's free. You can check out that video series for free and learn more about how working on yourself can affect other people. So someone else betrayed you. Yes. Here's the magic question. What is there inside of me that attracted this experience? It's really hard to forgive someone for betraying you until you've removed everything inside of you that attracted this experience. And once you've really done that, and I mean in a permanent way, not just temporarily and then tomorrow it's back, like most ways, when you really remove it all and you look at what happened, you won't care anymore. What's there to forgive? It's already over. I don't care. I'm not saying you'll like them. I'm not saying what they did will be okay with you. I'm saying you'll be so powerful in the face of it that you can stand in your place of unconditional love and make a really intelligent decision about what to do, how to be, who to be, and how to relate to that person. And if you decide to be friends with them again, great, because you might find that it wasn't what you really thought. The whole situation might change. Or you might realize, wow, this person just isn't a good person in my life. And I learned a lot, I grew a lot, I'm grateful they came into my life, and that's the end of that. It doesn't matter. The results will be very, very different, though, if you don't go in and do your inner work. If you take it as your opportunity to grow, man, your life's going to become magical. Because if you keep doing that with every negative situation, you're going to start to grow into the kind of person that people want to be around all the time. People want to help, people want to give stuff to. People want to know why you're like this. How can you be so amazing? And that's the best thing in life, is to become the person that you always dreamed you could be. So if you want to learn more, click on the link below. You can learn about all my courses and programs. My name's Arnoux Goran. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to connect with you. Subscribe to my channel. That sounds like fun, right? I'll see you soon.